All right, so today we are going to talk about a very big topic. Can women really have it all? Okay, but before that, I need to introduce our guest today, Mina, who is the Chief People Officer. Of course, you guys know Sheila. Don't need to introduce lah.
Hi, I'm Sheila.
Yeah. Okay, so Mina, can you tell us a bit more about, your role in the company, holding such a high position, basically, and being a woman as well?
Yeah. So I'm at FWD Singapore as the Chief People Officer, and my role is really to look after everyone who works at FWD Singapore and ensure that I'm helping them to be able to reach their full potential, to perform the best that they can in their job.
Almost like a work mom. Actually, it sounds almost like a
you're
mom,
right. A bit like that, yes.
So you're a mother at home and mother at work too.
Well, I try.
Of course, both of these guys are mothers of two, right? So Sheila...
Two girls.
Two girls.
The girls.
Both of them have two girls. How old are your girls?
10 and 14.
10 and 14. Ooh, that is I gave my mum hell at 13, so this is not the easy age. And Sheila, of course, has just given birth.
2.5 and 3 months old.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a joy.
So a little bit about, for those who for some reason don't know about Sheila, right? How is it like in your day-to-day these days?
Wow. I wake up and I prepare breakfast for my daughter, and then I get now with the second one and then breastfeed, and then send the second one to school, and then come home breastfeed, and then prepare her for shower and stuff, and then pick the first one back from school, and then breastfeed. It's like basically the whole day is just about them.
No, but you also find time to work. For example, like we've managed to shoot this.
Yes.
Although, guys, can I just say that when we were having our briefing call internally, right, our producer...
Must you?
I have to say this because our producer and I were together, and Sheila was like, can I just dial in? And then we dial in and she was making wontons. She's like, hang on guys, I'm just teaching my helper how to make wontons so that I can... I was like, seriously? So we're watching her pinching this wonton. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to move to the room. And then she moves to the room, and then suddenly the baby cries. She's like, okay, hang on guys, I need to breastfeed. And she's literally breastfeeding. I think our producer was a bit horrified. She's like, cannot see anything, but she was breastfeeding while speaking to us. All very cash, like baby on the lap. And then it's like, yeah, so we should talk about this topic and this topic. I was like...
Just tilt it up and then you won't even see the baby at all.
Seriously, honestly, I don't know how you guys do it. Mina, for you, that's been quite a while ago.
Yes.
Right, but how do you manage now, having one preteen and one teenager in the house, plus a full-time job in a role that is very full-time?
Yes. So once they get a bit older, it does become a bit easier. So you have something to look forward to.
Yeah, so the 2.5 is already easier. Like being able to feed herself and like she wanting to try to do a lot of things herself, that is already easier.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And what I do with my girls actually is that I talk to them about work. Oh. So what I can explain to them, and in simple terms, I'll explain what I do at work or something interesting that's taken place. And they're a bit curious as well, but then that helps them to understand why I go to work, what I do. Mm-hmm. And my purpose, I feel, is that at work I'm helping people to be better at their jobs.
Wow. Yes.
So they can perform and help the company, achieve its targets. But it's about the helping people. So I say, well, I'm helping the people who I work with. And then I explain some things about what I do. And so they feel involved. And sometimes, especially the younger one, when we had a lot of Zoom calls, for example, in lockdown, she'd like to come into the call.
And would you let her come on the call?
Well, yes, because as a female leader and also running HR, I need to role model, right? The right culture that we want to create to show that we do support family, and not just families, but parents, fathers, as well as mothers. So if I don't do that, then what does everyone see?
Yeah.
Right? Just like children see how their parents behave and they, learn from that, the parents as role models. At work, leaders have to be role models as well. So I had my daughter in the office a couple of weeks ago because she needed to come in. We didn't have Wi-Fi going on at home.
So she came in to study?
She came in, I had to talk to a teacher, and my daughters actually know the names of all the people I work closely with. They know the names of my team.
Yeah, very involved.
And they know a bit about what everyone does as well.
Wow.
And so it's also education for them, what is the workplace like.
At which age did you start them on that?
I think actually it was probably from lockdown, because they would come into the Zoom calls sometimes, right? And start to ask more questions about work. So they understand, you know, on the weekend if I have to do some work, and sometimes they ask and I say, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm helping someone with this. And
So at least they are part of the picture and they don't feel like you're leaving them to do something that they completely have no idea about.
yes, and then they start giving me advice as well as to what I should do.
That is the
Like
best.
what?
Like if I tell them about some problem I'm working on, they say, oh, just do this. I said, no, I'm dealing with people. We need to be sensitive about certain things, and we have to work professionally, right?
But that's awesome though that they're getting involved. I mean, obviously they're coming in from a much younger level, right? But it's nice that they're learning along the way.
And the best part though is that when they can do things like PowerPoint, they can help me do my slides. Yes.
That is great for the girls. But I just want to check, like from a company's perspective and from your own, you know, I mean, you wear many hats as like a mother, as like a corporate leader, right? Did you ever think like, okay, are people gonna view me differently that I'm bringing my girls into the office? Are people gonna view me differently that I'm a mother? Am I mixing too much work with family? Did that ever cross your mind?
No.
Not at all, really?
No, I mean, I briefly crossed my mind,
Yes.
but really, if a place that I work at has an issue with that, then it's probably not the right place for me.
I see, okay, wow.
So you need to be working somewhere that aligns to your personal values and all of that. I also need to make sure the role modeling aspect is there, because if there are others at work who need to bring their kids in or do something else, take some time out to do something, then they need to know that it's okay. And not everyone asks. So if they can at least see that other people are doing that, then it gives them that acceptance and makes it a bit more comfortable.
I'm asking because I have other friends who perhaps work in a corporate environment where it's not so open and they feel that they may be judged less favorably at work if they bring family into the picture. Right, so it's great to hear that you guys have that sort of culture and there is no fear around, you know, including the family in the work environment.
I've worked in financial services for a long time, including in banking, and in one job I was a bit concerned that okay, I have to go pick up my daughter at 4, bring her back to the office with me for another couple of hours, and then we go home together. But after doing that, when you see kids in the office, it lightens the mood for everyone. It is actually really good for morale. And you see everyone, you know, going to their drawers, pulling out chocolate and saying, you know, and so your poor child of like 3 years old goes home with like a bag of chocolate.
I don't think she minded.
that you have to then deal with the nutritional aspect of that.
Mommy after that is like, okay, you can't have this. I'm sure the kid had a lot of fun though.
Yes, exactly.
Sheila, how about for you? I mean, in our industry, right, where honestly, the way we are perceived is so much about the sort of work that we get to do, right? So since becoming a mom, you know, you start out as an actress doing the sweet young thing role. Then after that, being a mother, do you feel like the industry or the audience sees you differently?
The audience definitely sees me differently, especially because I started from modeling, right? And there's a lot of people who grew together with me, and I'm completely not that person anymore. To be honest, even for this particular filming day, I had to Google like what does empower a woman means, and does a stay-home mom also does that equate to can a stay-home mom be an empowered woman? And I think like it was quite sad for me to have to do that when I googled, and the answer was yes, because an empowered woman basically means that you are confident, you have the freedom to do whatever you want, and I think that is, and you find self-worth, and I think that is basically what a lot of stay-home moms are, because they choose to put their time away to devote their life to nurture the next generation. And for me, I feel that in the beginning stage when I had to, you know, it was a clear decision that I wanted to stay home with my children.
You never, because that's a lot to give up, right? Like for us, it's really go, and then suddenly if you decide to stay home, it's a hard stop.
Yes.
Right? Then
so I basically just disappeared from TV, I disappeared from the magazine, I disappeared, and I'm not even really that big on social media. So for me, it was like suddenly I just disappeared from everywhere. And in the beginning, I was a little bit FOMO. I did feel like, okay, I'm missing out on all these actions, right? And like there's events and there's parties and I'm not there and things like that. But after a while, I feel like, I've been really doing this for a long time. I really just enjoy what I have now to be able to have the financial freedom to choose to stay home with them and to share that joy and watch them grow up. And I've never felt more fulfilled, I think. Yeah.
Speaking of financial freedom, I just wanted to mention that this entire series was made possible by FWD. FWD Singapore is a leading digital platform that helps you buy insurance in an easier and faster way. All right, so tell me a bit more about how it feels like to have financial freedom for yourself and for your kids.
Well, I think it's very important to know that I am able to choose what I want to do at this point in my life. I basically did start working at 17 and I've been saving since then, and so this is the time where I am able to spend it however I want, and that means that if I don't want to work, I can choose to stay at home with them, and that gives me a lot of satisfaction and fulfillment to know that all this time that I've been prudent, not spending on bags.
Sheila and I are the this is like an internal joke, right? Because we are like the most prudent / sometimes a bit cheapo people that you have ever met, right? We were like discuss deals and stuff, which sounds really auntie, but yes. So I can attest to the fact that she is very prudent.
So I was very close to using the word stingy, but I decided to go for prudent.
Semantics.
Yes, just for this session. Yeah, so very prudent, and I feel like the one thing that I've always wanted to spend on, like the big goal in my mind, was to have a house, and I saved up all my life from 17, and I finally really achieved my goal at 30, and that was a very big motivation for me because I feel like, okay, I can achieve what I want. And then from then on, there was this sense of groundedness and there's this sense of confidence, I feel. So for me, I feel like financial freedom to me, it also is a form of security, and a very, very big one. To know that I have that security gives me the freedom to do a lot of other things that I want to do to pursue, and to know that, my family is going to be okay. And I guess for our line of work, it really is when you stop, the money really just stops coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no like basic pay or whatever like that. So to completely take a back seat, not completely lah, I mean like really take a back seat from work, it's a big decision. And I'm very grateful that my husband supports that, and I'm able to really see my children grow, and they are only young ones, and I feel like it's such a privilege to be able to spend that every day with them and see them, really blossom into who they are. I mean, 2.5 years later.
I have a lot of friends who follow you a lot of mom friends who follow you on social media, right? And they are they follow you because they like the way you parent and stuff like that, but they also tell me they are very envious that they wish they had the freedom to be stay-home moms. I mean, that is, a privilege in itself, right? And
but as we were saying just now, when you are a stay-home mom, sometimes you just want to go back to work.
It's always like that, right?
Yeah,
it's always like
because
that.
It is really, really emotionally draining and physically tiring as well to be a stay-home mom. I think a lot of people don't realize the energy that you have to give out. I constantly have to internalize, I constantly have to stop myself in track, and I ask myself, like, am I taking this out on her because I'm just really tired today? And I mean, I've never really been interested in most of the things in my life, sorry to say, but in parenting I really am, and I read up a lot on that, and I do courses on that, and so I am really trying my best to embark on positive parenting and conscious parenting, which is so tough. It is really hard. I wouldn't say it's easy to be a parent, but to be a good parent, it really is hard. To consciously be aware of the things that I'm saying to them, of the things that I'm doing, and as you were saying earlier, that they're always watching us. We are a model to them, right? So to always be on best behavior, you can imagine how tiring that is.
I know I'm not a parent, but my niece will correct me if I say certain words. Come on, what did you say? Did you use the S word? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have the little police, watching me. I guess I wanted to talk about, since we're talking about can women really have it all, which is a huge topic, right? But I just wanted to check, you know, I guess it's interesting to hear from a corporate mom, right, and a stay-home mom. Do you feel like sometimes there is a trade-off? You know, like, I mean, I guess like Sheila would have the privilege to be able to maybe really be there for everything as a stay-home mom, tiring as it is, right? Did you have to give up? Because we talked about giving up things at work. How about giving up things to do with your kids' development?
So I think the important thing is what Sheila mentioned earlier about empowerment, and it really is choice. Like, what do you want to do? And everyone is different. So I choose to work full time. Sheila chooses to be a stay-at-home mum, and for now, that's what we choose for now.
Yes, that's right.
So it depends on this is my choice. So how do I make it work for me?
Do you ever feel like, you're missing out on your children's life, to be really blunt about it, I guess? I'm taking this from when I read Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, and she talked very directly about how she may not have had the chance to be there, say, for her kids, certain recitals or certain things like that. Do you ever feel guilty about that?
Yeah, I do, but I also try to make time for those important things. And I discuss with them, with the kids, what is the really important thing you want me to do with you? So on the weekend, what do you want to do? Or this is coming up, okay, you've got a school concert, you've got your touch rugby game, and this and that, and you know, how about we sit down and discuss which ones do you really want me to come to? Which ones really, what's really meaningful for you? And I use simpler words than that with them, of course. It's like, where do you want mummy to be? You know, you want me to come here or you want me to come there? You know, so we talk about it. So we kind of set the expectations and come to an agreement so that on the day there aren't any tears. Okay. And then when I do go and attend, and I make time from work, so I do a lot of prioritizing every day to make sure things get done and the important things get done. So if I need to do something with the kids or an emergency comes up where someone is sick, a child is sick, right? You need to drop everything. So getting all my work done so I can make sure that when I go and attend the touch rugby game or whatever it is, that I'm fully present. And then I also take something extra, which means extra treats or something to say, hey, I'm here and this is great. And she gets all my attention.
Okay. It's so funny because recently I was working with, on another project. And then one of the people I was partnering said, I love working with mothers. I said, why? He said, because they are the most efficient. They have to be, because it's like, I have this time within this and this time, right? And then after which, like, my kids are going to be the priority, so we got to get this done in this time. So that was, I guess, how he summed it up. He said mothers are really like the most efficient.
Yes, and also carving up the time. So if it's dinner time, it's saying, okay, all phones, everything is away, I'm having dinner with the kids, and that is their time. And so they know that is their time.
Yeah.
And you need to be very consistent about it as well, you know. But just letting them know what is their time and when sometimes, you know, work needs to be done, needs to be done.
Speaking of efficiency, right? That day I had dinner with a friend, and then she said that she recently went on a holiday with 4 moms. And
is she a mom herself?
She's not a mom. She's the only one that's not a mom.
Yeah.
And she said that they went to Seoul. And she said that she was so exhausted by the end of the trip because moms on holiday are just like moms on steroids. Like they
Mom's gone wild.
They want to do everything because that's basically the only alone time that they have with no children, right? So at 4 a.m. she's like, she was already exhausted and ready to go to bed. Her eye bags were already so full on, right? And then her friends were like, hey, shall we go shopping? Like, let's go have supper. And she really couldn't deal. I was just laughing because I can understand what the
I have gone out with Sheila on nights out, right? And can tell you she is very focused. She's like, this is my night off without the kids. I'm gonna make it a real party.
Yeah.
If you want to have fun,
exactly.
you go out with mothers.
She was, right?
I actually found myself in that position, right, where I was out on a big night out, like a girls' night, right?
Like 20 mothers there.
20 mothers. Yeah. I didn't realize I was really like, was I the only non-mother? I don't know.
2 others.
I think it was just me and another girl who were like non-mothers. And these mothers were like really moms gone wild, you know. I mean, certain things like a bit not safe for work, cannot see on camera, but like, I mean, a certain so-and-so was like, shots! And then we would drink like champagne, and then she was like, we gotta chase it with the shots. I'm like, don't you guys have kids to send to school in the morning?
And you know the amazing thing is no matter how drunk you are, you wake up the next morning business as usual.
Yeah.
And one of them actually woke up to bake a cake for a birthday party. You know, mothers out there, I'm sure you can relate to this.
I was really amazed. I would like put a hard stop time if I had to leave, but yeah.
No, we do have to put a hard stop. It's just that within that few hours that we
Pack in all the fun.
Yeah, they packed in. It was power pack. They were like, we are gonna meet at 11 o'clock sharp. I'm like, how sharp is sharp? Then at 10:55, she was like, we are here. I'm like, sorry, what? Like, okay, guys, wait. I'm turning into the car park. You know, like seriously.
And when she came, everyone was there already,
Yeah.
like ready to drink,
Ready
and
to go. And then after that, they were. But when the hard stop came, right? The hard stop came, and I was like, we're going home. I was like, round 2, they're like, no, they're very disciplined. I was like, round 2, round 3, they're like, no, hard stop.
Yeah, because 7 a.m. is 7 a.m.
And the best part about going with moms is they are very mom-like. They come, even though they may be in a very happy state, they are like, how are you getting home, Jade?
Yes.
How are y'all getting home? So they make sure everybody
Drink
get
water.
home. Drink water. And they started feeding me water at a certain point. We're like, drink water, we're going home soon.
They can't stop being mums.
Yeah.
They can't stop being moms. So it's actually really good to go out with moms. I gotta
We
say.
will adopt you anytime.
Yes, please do adopt me. You know, as a non-mom, I always get asked, like, am I ever gonna have kids? And I always say I'm not ready yet. You know, because I'm still a big kid, and people always ask when I'll be ready. I say, I don't know, like, I'm just not ready yet. I'll know when I know, right? And I mean, I have to say, like, I've seen the process because I have a much younger brother, who's 13 years younger, and I have a niece who's 5. And I'm like, you guys do a lot. Like, that is a lot to give up. Like you said, I guess, you know, before seeing the whole process, I thought like being a stay-at-home mom is, you know, as many men may think, being a stay-at-home mom is like a chill out life.
Oh my
See,
god.
Sheila is like rolling her eyes at you also, like it is really not, right? So, I mean, there is no respite basically. And I talked to my own mom, in fact, who was a working mom as well, who always wanted to have kids. But she told me like after the maternity phase, I said, do you ever regret like not being around 100%? She said, I don't think I could have. She said it was easier going to work.
Yes.
It was definitely easier going to work than, you know, having to deal with the kids 24/7.
Yeah.
With little ones, it's more than a full-time job, definitely.
Especially at this age when the first one is going through toddlerhood, she really is exploring independence and she wants to do everything herself. She has a mind of her own and she has 1,000,001 things that she wants to do. So sometimes getting her, it's not, as a parent, as a mom, I feel like sometimes you realize that you really can't control anything in life. Nothing is within
You
your
gotta let go,
control.
right?
Yeah, you have to let go because otherwise you really end up being very miserable and there will be a lot of power trips here and there and it's just so unhealthy for the relationship, whether it's with your husband or with the caregiver or with your children. So I feel like with motherhood, it has taught me so much to be humble. It has taught me to be respectful to even little children because they want the respect. And if you don't teach them respect at this age, they are not going to be able to show you respect when you want them to. So there's a lot of things that I feel goes undercurrent that a lot of people don't see. Yeah.
You know, you guys are both leaders, as in people look up to you in your own right? For example, like Mina at work, people look to you as the example for like she's the head, but she also has 2 kids and she's a family sort of lady. For you, people look up to you as like an influencer. I hate to use the word, but it's true, right? People look up to you as like, okay, this is the like celebrity mom who has 2 kids. How is she doing it? The question I want to ask is like, how would you guys want people to look at you, and what are the messages that you want to pass on as a leader in this aspect? Big question.
I think people need to work out what they want for themselves. You can't look at someone and say, I want her life, right? It might not work for you. So you have to figure out what you want, and then you have to, how are you going to achieve that? So you knew from a young age that you wanted your financial freedom, you wanted your home. So you were very focused on that, and you did that. Someone else will want something else. So figure that out and, you know, do the work like you did from 17, whatever that means, to get you where you need to go. Try to make the right choices. Sometimes, you know, we make mistakes, go down the wrong path, but try and stay focused on that path and look at other people and what they do and learn from that, but don't just simply copy that and say, I want that, because it won't work for you. That won't be what keeps you happy. So figure out what will keep you happy, and then go after that.
Sheila, like, how about you? Like, people do look up to you. I have a lot of mom friends, really. Actually, I had no idea. And they told me, like, I follow Sheila. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I really like, you know, to see her mom life, Right? How is it that you would like people to see you as
For me, as a public figure, I think my motto has always been to be authentic. I feel like there's always a lot of fancy things that's happening on social media, and for me, I really try to keep it real as possible. I mean, there's a lot of, I do showcase a lot of like my life with my children and all that, and it always seems like, hey, my children are really, really good and I'm very lucky, and things like that. But I will write it in the caption. That's why I always write essays. It's not like captions, they are like really long. And I try to explain that it's not about having it easy or being lucky. I feel like there's no such thing as being lucky. I feel like whatever that our path is, whatever we choose to do or choose to be, it's about putting in the effort and being committed to doing that. And for me, I chose to be a stay-home mom, and that is a full-time job for me. And so I choose to put in all my effort into doing that and being very focused and committed. And whatever that means, I mean, like in every industry, we have to keep upgrading ourselves. Even for moms, we have to do that.
Yeah.
Like you need to know, like, you know, now there's, or whatever age they are, it's going through whatever kind of like behavior.
Sheila really takes this like a full-time study.
It is,
Yeah, like really, she's like super serious. Like at every phase, she's like studying.
Yeah, because they are ever changing and you need to know where they are at and meet them there, because they are not gonna be able to meet you where you're at. So for me, I write all these things on my social media, and I mean, it's a form of sharing. I wouldn't say it's education. I think it's a form of sharing, and I really, really love this motherhood because everyone is so genuine and so welcoming of each other. You know, I remember when I was pregnant with Layla, I obviously had no idea what I was getting into, and like Jade, actually, I always wanted to be a mom, but even then, I never felt like I was ready. I feel like even people who wants to be a mom, they never feel like they will ever be ready, because we are always still a child. We are still a child until we have to take care of someone who is more important than ourselves. And when she was born, I had so many people showing me love and advice and telling me, you know, how things can be done. There's other options, and they are so accepting of whatever mistakes we have made. And I think that has given me a lot of confidence and assurance that, you know, this community is here to support me through this journey. Yeah.
And you know, one of the really difficult things is that unlike a corporate job, as a mother, you don't know if you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Actually, my own mom told me this.
Really?
I think like we've always had a very open relationship. So I think when I got a bit older, at the point where we could discuss, I guess, her parenting, or I would offer
By the way,
my unsolicited
I really love
advice.
your mom's parenting. I really do.
Yeah, my mom is really open. Like we've always had a very open relationship. I know it's hard to not judge and to not stop your kids from doing stupid things. I mean, I've done many stupid, questionable things, right? And some of my decisions also, before I actually do them, I'm sure she doesn't agree with, right? But she tries her best to just be supportive.
And let you make the mistakes and learn from
Yeah, I think
it,
that's
right?
the hardest
so
thing.
hard.
I mean, I'm not a mom, but even like if just for a loved one to see a loved one make the mistake, you know, oh my gosh, don't do that. It's gonna be such a disaster, right? I think it's hard to just stand by and let them do it because you know they need to do it, right? But I think one of the things that I think when I was probably in primary school, that's why I said I was a terribly precocious kid. I think I told her I was upset about something that she said or did, right? And then she said she was sorry, she did wrong, and you know, no one ever tells you what you're supposed to do and not do. There's not just one essential guidebook that says like, do this, and that will be, I mean, you read a lot, right? But it's a lot of information.
Yeah, and there's a lot of moving factors too.
Yeah, like your
It
kid
depends
is,
on exactly.
every child is different.
Yeah.
So she's always said that. And then the worst thing is there's no affirmation. I think coming from like, in any environment, right? From a corporate environment, you get affirmed when you get a raise, you get a promotion. For us, we get affirmed when we get a good job, when we get a sponsorship, right? When we score a good deal. For example, right, there is no affirmation, not a lot in motherhood, like where you like, okay, good job, Mina, let me give you a tick, good job,
and you
Sheila.
did this right.
I give you a star, stamp, right? So I think that's hard. How do you keep going, you know, knowing that there's no real, or are there affirmations that I'm missing as a non-mom?
I think what you said about the open relationship, if you keep that with your children, then I think that is a good indication that you're on the right track, right? If they are being open with you, they're talking to you, telling you what's going on in their life, then that's one of the indicators.
It's easier said than done though, because I think like sometimes I think back, right, and I mean obviously like during the difficult teenage years, I maybe didn't share that much with my mom when I was going through the rebellious stage. Like now when I tell her what I did then, she was like, oh my gosh, she said, a part of me is so glad that I didn't know because she would have been so worried. Do you know what I mean? So it's a
My
great
mom
thing
doesn't
to
know the
have.
70% of the things I did, and I'm glad it's that way.
Same.
So you'll never, I mean, I'm like, blah, 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 so I kind of like told her later on, like now as an adult, and she was like horrified. So you're taking it to the grave, is it?
Yes, yep.
So yeah, like how do you guys know that you're on the right track? I think, Mina, you said if you manage to have that sort of openness with your child, you feel like that means you're kind of on the right track.
Yeah, because you know, if they tell you what's going on in their life,
Yeah. But if they tell you horrifying things that you may think is a terrible decision.
Pretend. Fake it till you make
you
it.
still have to be supportive.
Well, luckily you actress, man.
You gotta fake it until you make it, man.
You still gotta be
You
supportive.
still got to be supportive, just like your mum was.
Yeah, I think now these days I'm like not the most sensitive person, so I'm a little bit better at reading her expression that, or like she's like, oh, that, you know, I don't really like that. But most times she says she's cool, I just take it as face value, she's cool. Right? So, in a good way,
you
right?
are like
I'm kind of insensitive like that. Sheila, I guess what is your sort of marker that you're doing right, you're doing a good job?
Okay, so I have to bring this back to being mother for the first time and
Yeah.
the second time. I think that's a huge difference. Like when I had Layla, I was very uptight and very stressed out about everything because there's, like you say, there's no indicator whether I was doing this right or not.
You just wanted to get it 100%
Yeah, I just
right.
want to be. I'm never a perfectionist, you know, but
Yeah.
then when it comes to motherhood, when it comes to being a mom, I'm like a complete perfectionist, and that really is somebody I don't know, I don't recognize. Anyway, so with Layla, I was really trying to aim for perfection, and I was so uptight, and I gave up a lot of social life, as you know. I kind of didn't meet anyone or
Yeah.
didn't take on any work for about 2 years until she started going to school at 20 months. And for me, it's very important to teach them about emotions and the whole, you know, psychology thing and blah blah and stuff like that. So I taught her a lot about emotions and talked to her. I share with her about a lot of stuff. And you don't know whether she understands because
Yeah.
she is so young, right? I mean, she's now only 2.5. But then, now that she can, I guess she can speak better and she's able to verbalize her thoughts and emotions, I feel like I have done a pretty good job because she's able to share with me about her thoughts, like what's happening in school, and she will be able to tell me like, Mama, I don't like that you did that. And this morning she was very emotional, as they are at this age. She was very emotional about something, and then I tried to carry her and I threw her on the bed because she liked that, like I threw her on the bed, and she got really upset and she was kind of like cranky for a little while. And I didn't know what it was. I said, what's going on today? Are you okay? And then she said that I would like Mama to be more patient with me.
Wow.
And those are big.
At 2?
Yeah, at 2.5. I think those are really big and important moments for me. I feel that she is able to ask for help when from me or from anyone for that matter, you know, to verbalize her thoughts and emotions. So to me, I feel like, wow, I have done well. So now with the second one, I'm a lot more relaxed because I feel like, okay, you know, now the first one can take care of the second one and teach her about emotions, which is why now I'm at work and I can go out with friends, etc. So for me, I feel like how do I know that I have done a good job or that it's on the right track is moments like this. I really don't know because they change so fast. I mean, now they are going through toddler, and then next year is the teenager, and then whatever, you know, things will start to happen. And
It's
then
a term, teenager.
yeah, there is a teenager. And then when they start going primary school, it's also about the friends that they hang out with. So it's navigating through this journey with them and constantly reflecting again and to see if, yeah, I'm on the right track. For me, I know what I want, which is the connection and the communication that we have with each other. And if that is okay, I feel like a lot of things will slowly kind of fall in place. Because I was never the kind that communicated well with my mom.
I was going to ask, like, you know, how your relationships were like with your moms, and did that help to shape the way that you guys parent as well?
Oh, it was a very big, I guess, a very big factor for me because my relationship with my mom was always quite, she was for most part of my life, she was not very present. And which is why I guess I am so present with my kids, because I don't want them to feel like they can't have somebody to turn to. And I guess it's always like that. With motherhood, there's always a very big part of your relationship with your mom that will come kind of like affect and show up.
Yeah.
Like all the baggages and the issues will start to show up, all the inner child issues which I always tell you about. So it will show up, and it's about battling that and make sure that you don't bring all these issues into the next generation, which is why I'm very conscious and constantly reflecting on, okay, when I make this choice or when I use these words or whatever that values I'm trying to pass down to her, is it something that I didn't have or something that I wish I could have, things like that. Yeah.
Mina, how about you? How about did your relationship with your mom help to shape the way you parent?
Yes, definitely. My parents were very conservative, so there wasn't so much of that open communication like you have with your mother. So that makes me want to have the very open communication. I want to know what's going on with my girls. I want them to feel comfortable to tell me. So Sheila, earlier you mentioned talking about emotions, and I think anything that you talk about with kids, even if they're young, they're still hearing it, it's still going in. So if you set the right, you set the relationship the right way, in an open way, talk about emotions, and then you see later, like your daughter said, you're being impatient.
Yeah.
Everything is going in.
It is.
So they're watching you, they're hearing what you say, even if they can't understand it at that particular age. In time, you will see that it all comes out.
It is very shocking to me that at 2.5, she is able to say things like that.
I'm quite surprised. Yeah, it's really quite mature, emotionally mature to say something like that.
And now she's at this age where she does a lot of like imaginary and creative play. So she will bring her soft toys and she say like, oh, this is Doo-da-doo, like her elephant, and this is and she would tell me things like, oh, when Doo-da-doo was small, I breastfeed her too. So she is remodeling, everything that I'm doing, and then she will tell me stories like, oh, Doo-da-doo wake up in the morning and I sang song and I put her to bed last night. Things like that. So she is listening and she is really absorbing every single thing. And sometimes like the conversations that I have with like my mom or with my husband or whatever, even with my helper, she will somehow translate it into her own story with her soft toy friends. And I love hearing her stories because that is an indication for me as to what she is absorbing and what's happening in school with her friends.
Okay, so Mother's Day is coming up, and of course we would like to wish Happy Mother's Day to all mothers. Do you guys, last question, just because, I feel like mothers are actually honestly very easy to please, but just to ask, what would be your ideal way to spend Mother's Day, if you could pick? Because I asked my own mom and she always is like, oh no, just spend time together lor, as a family, and I'm like, really? So simple?
This year, my Mother's Day is gonna be celebrating Skylar's 100-day celebration, 100-day celebration on the same day. So a lot of moms will be there. We'll be celebrating Mother's Day together, kind of. But ideally, if it wasn't, actually, I would be happy with just a dinner, like what your mom said, or a meal together. Just a day of fun with my husband, really being there and having fun with the children as well, and maybe a kind of a handwritten card from my daughter. Any form of card, whether it's like scribble or whatever, that would be really nice. For me, I'm really a handwritten card kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's all that I will make me happy.
You see, moms. Mina?
I always get a handmade card and some handmade gift, right? Just paper.
Who
something.
encouraged that?
I'm not sure. They just always do that. They do it for my husband as well for his birthday. And I guess we like that, and we say that we like that, and so they always make something rather than going out and buying me something, which I can do myself anyway. When they make something,
it's really special, isn't it? And you see them progress over the years, like the card from it's really cute.
Yeah, and they help each other as well. And they say, and I say, how did you know how to make this? Oh, I saw it on YouTube. Sister showed me, and this and that. Okay, great. So a bit of teamwork, sibling. And then also, I like to do activities with them. So something outdoors, something fun, whether it's going to the beach or it's mini golf or bowling or something like that the whole family can do together. So that's probably a nice Mother's Day.
So it seems like for Mother's Day, you guys want still, I guess, same as my mom, something really simple and something that also includes the whole family, including the fathers. We've left out the poor men on this one, okay? Let's talk a little bit about fathers, their role in the family unit, I guess, and also, maybe their role in a corporate setting, because there is you know, it's a bit more when you have a very, how do you say, progressive workplace like yours, right, where you accept that, okay, women, we need to, sometimes your kids need to come into the office to work because they end school maybe at an awkward time, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, there's no one to watch them. It's okay to wait for a while. You guys go home together, but it's not as commonly seen when it comes to fathers. How does it work with the men?
Yeah, so I think we need to be equally supportive to the fathers in the office as well as the mothers, because there can be a little bit of a stigma around, you know, the father having to go and do something for the child. It's always okay for the mother to, but we should really normalize that so that we can support the fathers, because supporting the fathers ends up also supporting the mothers. So we're supporting the whole family unit. If the father needs to do something, take some time off to do something for the children.
Is it common that men take time off to, like, say, pick their kids from something or like have to leave? I mean, because honestly, really, I don't want to incorporate, but my understanding is usually is the mother.
I generally hear more from mothers in any place that I've worked than from the fathers.
Yeah.
And you know, just for the family unit and the whole family dynamics and relationship, for parents, for fathers to be able to carry a little more and feel, you know, more part of their children's lives as well, probably because they want to, but sometimes they can't. They feel like they can't.
Yeah.
So we need to role model that as well, right? To have some of the senior male figures role model being a father, and having to do things in work times for their children, with their children.
That's a really good point. And I think normalize is really the word. Because I feel like a lot of fathers these days, more and more so, I wouldn't say these days, I think a lot of fathers are trying to be as involved as they can. I mean, when I pick Layla up from school, a lot of fathers are actually there to pick their children up from school as well. And when sometimes, unfortunately, Layla has to go to the doctor, a lot of fathers are the ones that's bringing the children as well. So I think fathers are really trying to be more involved. But in corporate situation, in corporate setting, I think a lot of times they feel like they can't ask for that kind of leeway that mothers have. So I think that's a really, really good point.
I love that you're trying to, I mean, like, you know, there's a focus on normalizing it as well, because there is, I think, a little bit of a less acceptance, right? When a dad says, oh, I need to go to do this for my kid, right? It's a little bit more normal for moms to do it. So I think that is definitely a positive thing. Right.
And it's also sometimes that awkward pause of why can't your wife do it type of thing, right?
Yes. Like, why are you taking time off?
Yeah, we have to stop doing that.
I think even for my husband, when he tried, I mean, usually it's like the mom will try. If the mom can't, and then the father will have to step up. And when my husband tried, when he tried to ask for, time off, he will feel stressed about that. Like,
it's not a normal thing to ask for.
Yeah, is it okay to tell my bosses that, I need to take time off to send my daughter to a doctor or whatever like that? He shouldn't feel stressed. He shouldn't have to feel, he shouldn't have to feel awkward or that, it's different. Yeah. So.
What sort of, message would you like to send, Sheila, like on social media, for example, of the role of your husband in the family unit?
He plays a very important role. I wrote this before, and I mentioned that, like, when I first had Layla, I was going through so much postpartum emotions. I was like I was saying earlier, I was a perfectionist. I wanted things to be in a certain way from the day she was born. Obviously, that was not possible, and I was crying almost every day. And even with the help of my helper and confinement nanny, I just felt like, why couldn't I get things done? Like, my milk supply was low, I was really upset. She was crying, I couldn't comfort her. I was just upset about everything. And when Dion comes back home, he's the only one that I could turn to. Like, he will always see a crying wife that has not showered for days, and like hair all over the place, and I would get really, really emotional. And he played such an important role, because he would come home and be my pillar of strength, and he would comfort me and tell me, like, it's okay, you are already doing your best. I guess, some sort of affirmation, if any at all. Like with parenthood, I think it comes from your partner, and he was really there to show me the emotional support. And I feel like when it comes to emotional and psychology, right, like we always talk about it, men have it really hard because they don't have an avenue to talk like women do.
So we're all laughing, we're like, totally.
Like, women would just kind of gather, and then the emotions come out so easily, and then we would kind of just let it out and release whatever pent up frustration that we have. And there's always so much information and on psychology and blah blah whatever for women, for Mother's Day celebration, it's always about women, right? But for men, the poor fathers.
Guys, we need to have
kind of
the
forgotten.
fathers be front and center.
Yeah, I guess it is from years and years of I don't know, DNA or culture, you know, where they feel like they have to kind of take on the responsibility of shouldering the family,
Yeah.
or take on, just be the man.
But not
and
to
like,
be like the emotional support.
yeah,
and
like
the
don't cry,
parents.
you can't be emotional about things.
Would you like to let, like, say for example, your followers know that it's more normal? Like, I think Mina's doing that in the workplace already, right? But like in terms of like from a social media perspective, is that what you also would like and
Yes.
hope that people will realize that men actually have a big role to play and should be allowed to have emotions too?
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like as we progress, I think women are becoming more masculine, and so men are also starting to become more feminine. And I mean, it's not about the physicality, it is the energy, right? Like, men are becoming more sensitive as well. And I think we need to embrace that. And that is a good thing for them to be more sensitive. They are willing to share, they are willing to be more vulnerable. And I think that's all a call for celebration.
All right, guys, we've had quite a discussion.
Yes.
Right, of course, back to the topic, can women really have it all? It seems that from hearing both of you, yes, but we need to define what all means. Am I getting that right? Like what having it all actually means? Because it could mean something like for you having your corporate job and you're managing with the kids in the best way. For you, it could be the first few years you really want to be a stay-home mom, and really be focused and give them 100%, and that's having it all.
Yeah.
Basically. So ask the question, what does all mean, guys? That is probably the key points. So thank you so much, Mina, for being here. Sheila,
Thank
of course. We've got more episodes, okay? So please stay tuned. Meantime, if you want to find out more about having it all, giving your children financial freedom, go check out fwd.com.sg. See you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much.